Hey everyone, welcome to module number 6. We are cruising through this course, right? We're nearing the end. And for this module, we're going to be talking about chapter 14 and chapter 15. So in chapter 14, we're going to be talking about banking and the money supply. And so within that chapter, what we're going to learn about is money aggregates. So this is narrowing down to things like cash, demand deposits, traveler's checks, other forms of deposits. Uh, we're going to talk about money mutual funds and other time deposits, things like that, right? So we're going to look at financial intermediaries. We're going to learn about banks and how exactly they work. And how they are considered something called a financial mediary, financial intermediary, where they facilitate the flow of funds between the savers and the borrowers. So one thing you may not realize is when you put your money in the bank doesn't actually hold on to your money. They provide a service to you by saying they hold on to your money. And what they'll do is they'll take your money and they'll give it to me when I need a loan, and vice versa. They'll take my money and hold it for me, and they'll take that money and give it to you when they need a loan. And in the process of doing so, they accrue interest from you or me, whoever's actually taking out money. So they lend out your money, make more money, and they take it back as providing a service to allow you to take your money out anywhere in the country through the use of things like ATMs and such. And so these banks, they actually have regulatory agencies and entities that, go through regulatory approval processes, and they try and oversee the balancing of liquid assets, earning profits, things like that. Federal governments create policies to try and ensure that banks don't do anything too foolish that would jeopardize themselves. And like I said, we're going to learn about how banks create money. We're going to talk about how they create money through excess reserves. Again, that's lending out money and earning interest. We're going to talk about things like deposits and loans. Talk about how, what the requirements are for those entities for expanding their money and their outlook. We're going to talk about the limitations on money and expansion. We are going to talk about a heck of a lot of more things related to the Fed, which is the federal government, which is an entity that oversees monetary control, right? So they create rules for open markets, they create discount rates, they create interest rates, what the reserve requirements are. So that's all in chapter 14. And chapter 15 is related to monetary theory and policy. So within chapter 15, right, we're going to talk about the demand and the supply of money and how we need to print more money to have more money. But when we print more money, we actually devalue what our money is worth. So back in World War II times, I believe it was Germany, well, pick any country, right? They had the idea that if we just print more money, we'll have more money and we can fund and everyone can have a great time, right? It sounds nice. Let's say in the United States, if the government was like, you know what, let's print $7 trillion, we'll give everyone a few $1,000,000 a piece, everyone will be living great lives, right? Sounds nice, right? But if everyone is a millionaire, then nobody is a millionaire. What I mean by that is if everybody has a surplus of money, what's going to happen is everyone could buy more products, right? Everyone could go out and afford the latest and greatest iPhone. They could afford the greatest homes. They could buy a mansion if they got a couple $1,000,000 in cash right now, right? But if everyone could buy the home, that means I, as the seller, if I'm selling my home, I'm going to say, well, everyone wants it for $1,000,000. Maybe I'll charge $2,000,000 for my home. Maybe I'll charge $10,000,000, $12,000,000. And the same thing happens with iPhones. Well, if everyone could afford an iPhone at $1,000, everybody can. Well, then we'll bump it up to $2,000 and $3,000. That's why prices continue to increase, because we continue to print money in excess moderation, as I would describe it. And so we're going to look at how those fiscal and monetary policies are really impacting, how we live our lives, what is our sustainability, and how long that can continue for. So that'll be it for Module 6. Please make sure you're reading the chapters, as there's a lot of great information, and looking at all those other resources that I mentioned in the module. All right, everyone, thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in our final module.